Buckle up, everybody, because I am going on a grahampage. The last couple of days in entertainment news and the general chatter, boy, it has really gotten my temperature up. A couple of days ago on this week's Writer Dojo episode, Larry and Steve referred to something that I'd heard about before, but hadn't followed up on the news recently with it. In 2022, Mike Gallagher over at Upstream, one of my co-writers over there, did a really great piece of research into the whole Patrick Rothfuss thing. If you're unaware, quick summary is that it has been 13 years since he published an actual installment in his King Killer Chronicles series. He had The Name of the Wind in '07, and then 4 years later he published The Wise Man's Fear. And then supposedly in that entire time, he's been working on the third book. And his fans have been patiently waiting with greater patience than he deserves at this point. But I guess he's become a streamer in that time or something. Anyway, in 2022, he said, well, okay, I've got this charity drive here. And if you guys raise, what even was it? It was something like six figures for this charity. Then I'll release the first chapter, which I've definitely been working on and I've definitely written. And his fans blew that number out of the water by a factor of, I don't know, like 3, 4, 5. Like it was a stupid amount of money. And he hasn't released the chapter. To my knowledge, he still hasn't. Maybe he has since then. I don't know. But Larry and Steve then implied that the charity was actually just Patrick Rothfuss's house. Like on top of all of that, saying, raise this money, give it to the charity, and I'll release the chapter. He doesn't release the chapter, and then like the charity was just him. I don't know. And like Larry said to Steve, like, you and I are too honest for this business. Like laughing, but at the same time, like, that's just the kind of thing that wouldn't occur to a decent person to do. And I thought about that, and it's like, I want to cover this on my channel, but it would be hard for me to just jump in and say, like, I am, of course, too honest to do that. Like, okay, for one, like everybody thinks they're that honest. For two, I've never actually been tempted with that kind of money. I really hope that I'm the kind of person that would be honest enough not to do that, because I have a conscience and I like to be able to sleep at night. As nice as it would be to solve all of my financial problems, like I've got a soul, okay? But damn, like, yeah, I'm 99% certain it would not occur to me to screw people over like that. And I like to think that with my track record here on the channel, I've at least proven that, because as I've said, I could have built a bigger following and gotten more engagement by being the anti-lit RPG guy, the anti-back half of Red Rising guy, or just like quintupling down on nothing but Mayflower content for the past 4 years. But that's not what I'm about. All right, like the point is broader than that. My focus here is broader than that. And I'm seeing a frustration that I have, like, start manifesting in other areas where I have interest. I've talked a lot about your boy Zach, and if you follow him, you've doubtless seen me in his comments a lot. Like, I've been a reply guy of his a lot for the last couple of months, just because like he started sinking his teeth into something, which was a kind of an undercurrent of frustration that I've had, where I felt like I was kind of the only one, and I didn't really know how to quantify what was bugging me. But I realized that there was a stagnation amongst the creators that I support, mainly that they haven't really like changed their tune or their production or moved past a problem that they recognized years ago in entertainment. And the content that they've been making in that vein has largely become the same. The only difference being that there are more people jumping into their orbit that are doing it. Nerdrotic, great channel. He still kind of diversifies his content, but he's largely a everything in pop culture sucks channel. He does, in his defense, find things that he likes, and he plugs them when they come along. Critical Drinker, very, very funny, very entertaining, but I can't remember the last thing that he recommended that wasn't some obscure foreign piece on Netflix. And this is, I blind-eyed him to these guys in a video a couple of days ago, and I'll just name him out here now. Like, your boy Zach had this theory, and he's at least supported it consistently with evidence over the last several weeks and maybe even months at this point. But he's he's got a very strong case that he's made that Critical Drinker isn't actually watching the movies that he's reviewing, which is a problem when you are a critic. That's no different than me saying, okay, here's my 2 cents on the Joker Part 1 and 2. I have seen neither of those movies. I've read the Wikipedia summaries, and from a writing perspective, I could give you an opinion on themes and elements of the script, but I would also do so with the full disclosure that I have seen neither movies, and therefore my opinion on them and the execution of those scripts is completely irrelevant. I don't have 2 million followers on YouTube that I'm making money off of every single day and every single week. Critical Drinker is under the auspices of being an honest critic. It goes back to the Rothfuss thing. Yeah, I've never been tempted with that kind of money, but if you're pretending to be this thing, an honest critic, and you're not doing the job, like, that would completely nuke what you're doing. Well, like, what the hell are you doing anyway? Like, what are you doing with the time that you would be spending actually going to the movies and writing reviews of these movies the way that you did when you built up your channel in the first place 4 or 5 years ago? I think it was his Captain Marvel review that really took off, because that was like peak drinker wit. The guy has really, really great comedy chops and writing chops. His tone has changed over the last couple of years, and I originally thought, it's like, okay, it seems like he's trying to be taken more seriously as a critic. But now, in light of Richard Meyer's observations, I'm thinking there might be something to this, to the fact that he's spending his time doing other things, but he wants to keep the gravy train going with his critical channel. So what if he's just phoning it in? He's got a method for faking these reviews, and then his focus is all elsewhere. That's a huge freaking problem. I look at Eric July, and he built his entire following off of his political commentary and his comic commentary. He's a lifelong comic book fan, and sometimes those two things overlapped. He had his streaming show that he did for years, and finally he decided to get some skin in the game and make his Rippaverse comics. And I've read every one of those that's out so far. I like them. I've offered criticism of them, but I've enjoyed those comics. And then suddenly, out of nowhere, Ethan Van Sciver, who supposedly operates in the same space, decided to start attacking Eric in a very dishonest way so that he could drum up money off of Eric's haters, and largely also distract from the fact that several of his campaigns are multiple years behind schedule. But let's not look too closely at that. Let's look at whatever nitpicks Ethan has about Eric's books. In addition to it being a petty circular firing squad, it's all just rampant dishonesty and tribalism. And it brings me to this point where I want to ask, like, does anybody actually care about creating art, about discovering art and boosting art? Or do you just want to profit off of people who want something to be angry about? In the last couple of years, I've coined this term for people that I call anger sexuals. All right. And whatever else they say that they're mad about, or they're oppressed by this or whatever, it's like, your highest value, your greatest focus is not whatever it is that you're saying out loud. You just want to be angry about something. And the longer I observe this phenomenon, the more that I realize, like, this isn't a political ideology thing. It's not a religious ideology thing. It crosses all of those circles and all of those ideological lines. And it all comes down to, like, do you actually care about the thing that you say that you care about, or do you just want to be butthurt? Because there are people out there that want to make money off of your butthurt, and they're doing a damn good job of it. And then along comes somebody like your boy Zach, Richard Meyer, who points out the phenomenon and chronicles it in detail over months on his channel. And now people want to say, oh, well, you're just going woke now, or didn't you build your channel off of butthurt? He built his channel off of being upset that art had gone bad, that the comic industry had gone bad. He hasn't taken down his videos. He's been doing this for 7.5, 8 years. He set out to do something honest. He gained a following off of it, and now the following thinks that they control him, and he's pointed out, no, this is what I'm about. And seeing somebody who is willing to lose subscribers to his channel, he's lost at least 1/10 of his subs at this point, but will double, triple, quadruple down on what he's been saying this entire time, and people who think that he's been saying something else are really getting a wake-up call about that. Like, that's what I've been latching on to, because I've been unaware of, like, that's like, he was able to put it into words what was so damn frustrating about this whole process of seeing quote unquote the right lash out against quote unquote the left. And it was really, the indies versus the Hollywood machine, but there is some political ideology to it, and the Hollywood machine is largely leftist, don't get it twisted. But him realizing is like, you guys don't actually care even about the right versus left ideology. You care about your own tribalism and your own power. You've built an audience based on being upset about this one specific thing, and you want to keep them upset instead of actually producing the kind of art or the kind of alternatives that you claim to be. Eric July is at least producing the alternatives. Your boy Zach has his own criticisms about whatever else Eric July has got going on. You can go see his channel, see his videos about that. I'm not here to restate that or reclaim that. Eric July is at least building a business and getting books out and learning from the process. And I'm still keeping an ear to the ground with his X account. And it's been cool to see him describe what that process looks like and see how he's changed over the last 4, 5, 6 years. He's still doing a show. He's still doing YouTube videos, but he's making moves, and it's inspiring to see. It's also been really inspiring to watch Richard Meyer's journey this entire time, because he went from being a guy that would buy comics, make videos, point things out, and explain in detail why these books sucked, to then going on to saying, okay, well, I'll do a crowdfunder and I'll start my own company. And the point was not to just make money off of his fame. The point was to make good art, to make great art, to make great comic books. I bought that first one, that Jawbreakers, was that Lost Souls was that first book? I got that in 2018. I read it. I thought, okay, it was fine. I didn't buy any of his next ones for a while. Money got tight there for a quick minute. And then in 2021, he launched his Rock and Roll Ninja campaign. And I thought, I like the pitch of this book. I backed it. It took him 27 months to get it out. And then it finally showed up this spring. I read it and I thought, hell yeah. Was it worth the wait? Yeah. Was it worth a 2+ year wait? Maybe not so much. I mean, I'd like to order something and then get it in a timely manner. But I've also been watching his videos in that time. He's been learning the hard way how to do every single facet of running a shoestring business, like basically out of his house. And he's been talking about, okay, I've been trying to save money on this, but that means I've got to do fulfillment myself, and I've got this many orders. That means I've got to get this many fulfilled in a day. Like, I worked for my brother's small business, and he shipped worldwide. I know what that's like. And to figure out ways to save money, but then realize you're spending time on it. And so he had to be like, okay, well, if I spend money on and outsource this process there, that I'm really buying this time back, I can do it elsewhere. Like, he's learning 10 different things at once. A guy like Ethan Van Sciver, who's been in the business for 30 years and should know what the hell he's doing, he's just dragging his feet on it, and his books are several years behind schedule. And then the time that he should be spending fulfilling those campaigns, he's spending on trash cast, on grifting money out of people on live streams, crapping on Eric's project. There's just a vile dishonesty to all of that I can't freaking stand. And I've bought Ethan Van Sciver's books. They are fantastic. And I'm still going to back the Cyberfrog stuff. I'm not getting in on any of his other campaigns until he freaking gets his business model down. And I would really freaking like him to lock in on that. I'm not going to tell him what to do. If he puts out a Cyberfrog book, I'll buy it. I got personal preferences, but I'm not going to try to hold him hostage and get a campaign on boycott Ethan Van Sciver's. Blah, 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 blah. I'm just observing what is going on and saying, this is stupid. I won't be a part of it. I'm very, very grateful that Richard Meyer has at least been able to observe this phenomenon and be honest about what it is, and even be willing to lose subscribers and viewers over it, while still like just being flagrantly upfront about what the hell is actually going on. I admire that integrity in ways that I struggle to describe. Watching a couple of different channels and listening to a couple of different podcasts over the last couple of days has all congealed into this kind of pent-up frustration that I've had. But these guys have helped me put into words what that frustration is. Do we actually care about making great art, about finding great art, and boosting great art, or do we only care about building a tribal, angry audience and then milking them out of their money and their attention? I could have done that 10 ways to Sunday over the last 3-4 years. I refuse to do it. You guys remember last year I read that one book, 12 Nights at Rotterhouse by J.W. Oker, and it pissed me off to no end. Like it was the rare instance of me returning an audiobook that I was 90% finished with and swearing off anything else ever written by this author. Like, that's how offensively bad this book was. And I didn't want to review it unless I had something to compare it to instead. Again, shout out to Mike Gallagher because he gave me the idea to do that. And so I did that comparison between that Ochre book and Wilding Hall by Elizabeth Hand, which was superb. And I've been completely open about the fact that I find myself on the conservative right-wing side of the ideological spectrum. I have no idea where Elizabeth Hand falls on that spectrum, and I don't care. I read a book by her, and it rocked. And it was set in the rock and roll era in the UK in the 70s probably, when everybody was drunk and being promiscuous and there were half a dozen gay characters in it. I don't give a damn because they were great characters. The book was superb, written to perfection, and the audiobook was perfectly executed. It was a fantastic piece of art. And I did a review boosting that book because I want people to read it and enjoy it and have the experience with it that I had. I care about great art. Yes, Hollywood is full of people that hate me ideologically. I will go see great art when they create it. I watched Oppenheimer earlier this year. It's chock full of actors that couldn't give a rip about me or what I believe and believe things that are completely antithetical to it and vote against the things that I'm interested in. Matt Damon turned into superb performance. Cillian Murphy is a fantastic actor. Emily Blunt might be the best working actress in the industry right now. I don't give two rips about what her ideology is. Her art is fantastic, and I love watching her on screen. She's a believable action hero when she did Edge of Tomorrow. She's believable as a gritty FBI agent who believes in the system in Sicario. She's believable as an alcoholic communist sympathizer in Oppenheimer. She takes her craft seriously, and she does it great. I want to boost that. I'm interested in great art. I'm not interested in just cultivating an exclusively right-wing audience and catering to them in their anger and telling them, buy my book because it's right-wing. That's something else that your boy Zach was talking about with the Rippaverse books. Like, how many people are buying Rippa's books and actually reading them versus just like, I want to support this because it's not woke. I've bought every one of those books. I've reviewed them, every one of them so far. I wanted to back Horseman on day one, but my budget was in such a condition that I had to wait until the next week. So I won't be getting it very early like I've gotten all the other ones. But I backed Horseman. I backed Sarsha in the Ripazine Volume 2. I like what he's doing. And I can't even review it now without somebody jumping in on the comments on my video saying, herder, my 3D assets, herder, Ethan Van Sciver programmed me to come into your comments and just say this because all I do is freaking trawl YouTube and look for stuff to crap on. I don't give a damn. If I like something, I'll say it. If I find something good and I want to share it with you guys, I will. I would love to be able to do YouTube and reading and writing full time. I will not lie to you to get there. And I am brother trucking furious the more that I realize that there are people ostensibly in my vein that will do that. And that they've been doing it to me, and that without me being able to realize it further ahead than I did, that I was part of enabling that system, of giving them the views, giving them the encouragement. Just tell us the freaking truth. Find great art and boost it. It's why I'm not here to start crap with anybody. I am here to find the great stuff, to find what is praiseworthy and seek after it and boost it. But Drinker's funny. Yes, he is. Does that mean he's telling you the truth? So yeah, in closing, what matters more? Truth and great art or beating the bad guys? It's up to you to decide. I know what I'm going to do here. Find my books on Amazon, links in the description. I hope you actually read them. And yeah, I hope that you like them, but more to the point, I hope you honestly tell me what you think about them. I've been going on for 20 minutes about this. Drive safe. See you out there.